This is about how to start a sober living business, obviously. Today we'll do some background stuff. We'll go over the numbers. We'll talk about the education component, what that looks like, and then we'll wrap up or we'll close. So my name is Daryl McCullough. I'm a transitional housing expert, author, and consultant. But before I was doing any of that stuff, I was doing real estate, right? And I actually still do real estate. And so that's one of my old brokers right there, me with longer hair. And so essentially, I actually wrote the book on how to start a clean and sober living in 4 weeks. That's available. If you go to darylmccullough.com, you can be able to pick that book up. Also wrote another book, Multiple Streams Mindset, just based on, what it takes to be able to do what we're doing right now, which is multiple streams of income. Essentially, I went to Facebook years ago. Well, it's 2020. It said, hey, anybody looking to be able to partner with me to start a sober living home? And I had one guy, a realtor, who inboxed me and said, sure, I would love to do that. And then Change Point, the first one, the one that Heather was talking about, happened. So I got some guys and some gals together. We cleaned it up, we staged it up, and then we opened it up. And essentially, 2 months later, we opened up the first Change Point. From there, that's Anthony Wolford, the real estate, the mayor of Stockton currently, Kevin Lincoln, and myself. And that's us in the house. So I want to jump into some numbers real quick, okay? So this is 2342 French Camp Turnpike. It's a 7-bedroom home with 2.5 bathrooms. We got approved, we got approved for 22 beds. 20 of those beds were resident beds, 2 were staff beds, and we got approved through the city for $1,700 per bed, right? So when you look at the numbers, you start looking at 1,700 times 20, that's roughly around $34,000 per month. That's not taking out the fact of mortgage and, PG&E and different things. That's earning potential. So that's $408,000 per year if we did it times 12. And if we did it for 5 years, you start looking at somewhere around $2 million. Just for you to be able to see how profitable it could be while helping the community. So this is actually, I think I'm going to skip this, but this is me actually in one of the SLEs. And it's me just kind of giving a breakdown of exactly the fact of you can get apartment complex money right here by essentially starting an SLE. I think the idea is to get more investors like you looking at the possibility of SLE or halfway houses opposed to doing what are some of the things going on right now where they do like the bread and breakfast or all of those things. This is way better. It's way better for you. And I'm gonna go into why it makes more sense, right? So this is the second house, Chelsea Way, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, with the converted first room or a converted front room. There's 10 beds that we got approved for. 9 was resident, 1 staff. I got multiple contracts on this. 1 was private pay for $750. $1,100 we got through another contract. So roughly it was averaging around $950 per bed. And so $950 times 9 beds, you're looking at somewhere around $8,550 per month. That equates to about $102,000 per year. And over 5 years, you're looking over about a little bit over $500,000 over 5 years, right? And this is the business that you guys are getting ready to get into, right? So whoever shared this information with you, they just completely changed everything for you guys, right? And so this was another house I did, Lakeshore Lux. And essentially what we did, we thought, okay, it worked at the bottom. It worked in the middle. Could it work for the people that are addicted but are at a higher level, that maybe need more exclusive ways and places to stay, and which it did. So this was a 6-bedroom, 2-bath, 16-bed with the 15 resident beds and 1 staff bed. We averaged around $4,000 per month on this one. And so 4,000 times 15, 60,000 per month. That's 720 per year, and 3.6 million in 5 years. Okay, so with all 3 homes earning potential, we're looking at somewhere around 6 million in 5 years. So what we do is we help people like you convert your properties into sober living environments, essentially getting multiple streams of income, right? Instead of that one stream of income per unit, you can get multiple streams, right? And they need you, okay? So I do want to point out the fact this last house I lost, which is the Lakeshore Lux. And the reason why I lost it is because these houses cannot be in an HOA. Okay? The first thing I'm gonna teach you guys, it cannot be within a HOA or anything with CC&Rs, right? Covenant, conditions, or restrictions. Okay? So, but that's the information. That's, I made the mistakes so that you don't have to make the mistakes anymore. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're moving forward. You guys get anything out of this or no?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Keep going. It's informational.
Okay, so this was another person that I helped. His name is Andre Fisher. And essentially what ends up happening, he's a small home builder, and it says he couldn't sell his home. He could sell his home. He couldn't sell his home for what he wanted to make a profit for. So he was like, you know what? Let me call Daryl. So he called me up, and then essentially we took, this is his model that he builds all over Stockton. And what he ends up doing is that he converts it into an SLE, Valley Luxury Living. They're full today. Right? They're full. They got a contract for $1,400. This is another person who I've been able to help. She got her business started and she's doing well. So this is another 8-unit apartment complex. That's Tom's Market. You know where Tom's Market is? Yes. We all do, right? Great sandwiches. So above there's an 8-unit apartment complex that a guy had purchased. And he was going to do 8 units times 1,200, which was 9,600. And I said, what if you did Starter Sober Living, which is 35 beds, times 850 at 29,750, right? A 20,000 per month difference. You just are not finding this anywhere like this, right? So it just made sense for him. So just to recap, essentially between June and August, 2 months, 2 years, I was able to start up multiple SLEs. So that's the reason why I'm here before. That's the reason why I'm here before you. That if you know how to do it, why not be able to show other people how to do it? And so that's where I'm transitioning into, is somebody that helps other people start their own SLEs, right? So that being said, we can move into the other part. So what we're going to talk about, which we didn't talk about last time, was legality and liability, time frames, asset protection, the dreaded neighbors, sustainability and scalability, and then 10xing your rental income. And then after that, I think we should have just about everything we need. Okay? So, is this legal? And the short answer is absolutely. And it's because it's covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act, which ensures people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else. This covers things like halfway houses, recovery homes, and anything that encompasses that. So you're good there. And in fact, you're good in all 50 states. Okay, that's federal law. So sober livings are completely legal, all 50 states. Whether the neighbors like it or not, your sober living home or recovery home or halfway house are protected under that ADA, and which means your business is completely legal and can absolutely work in your state. I started up a YouTube channel, and it's at Starter Sober Living. And essentially, I'm getting people from all over the country, and they're like, can I do this in my state? I'm like, absolutely, you can. So what about liability, right? So essentially, what we did was, I knew people like you who are real estate investors are going to say, I like the idea, but my liability, right? What's going to happen there?
Everybody can get
right. So what ends up happening is this right here. So because we have this, which is we have a contract The contract is going to reduce your liability just with the legal jargon or legalese that we put in the contract. And then that coupled with the $1 million insurance policy, you guys already have insurance?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, you guys got insurance. And then I have another really low cost, really good company that specifies with just sober livings and halfway houses that might cover you further, a couple $100 a month. It's worth it. Okay, so you can never have enough insurance as a business owner, right? So I will help you with that. But just know the bottom line is we have significantly reduced your liability in this, okay? So we have covered legality and liability. How much time does it take? So it may take you a while, but you can see cash flow within 30 days. You already have people who are going to help you out. So if we get you the, let's say more comprehensive insurance, and you get our contracts in place, right, with your logos, your name, your business structure, I mean, you could start really the same day because Americans with Disabilities Act says, hey, anybody can be able to do this, right? What we have is a step-by-step system that makes more sense because it adds a few things. One of them is it's going to reduce the time. The other thing it's going to do is reduce the liability. Making sense?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So how much time does it take? We kind of already covered it. It could be done as soon as you get the more comprehensive insurance and as soon as you go ahead and essentially get your contract going, you can start that day, okay? I mean, obviously, you want to be able to have it a legal business, right? You want to be able to, get it licensed and get it certified. We do all of that for you or with you, but we're saying in regards to how fast can you start, Okay, so how does Starter Sober Living 10x my rental income? Well, it's based on simple mathematics. 2 is better than 1 in regards to sober livings. 10 to 15 streams of income on a single family unit is better than 1 stream of income. I mean, it's just 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? It's real simple. It's real simple. So I already explained to you what happened for me, and that is what we could be able to do for you. Okay? Moving forward. So, we have a complete done for you solution at Starter Sober Living. So from step to step to step to get you completely, totally done. And we could talk more about that offline, but there is a system that we have that works that can get you set up, okay? And then we knew that most investors wouldn't know much about starting a sober living, wouldn't have the time, and would love a done for them solution. And so we provide that for you essentially. We even have something called a sober living management company. Because we've been doing it so long, we can be able to help you with some of the day-to-day operations, because in the beginning, it is a lot. I mean, obviously with what they're looking for, we connect with, okay, this is what Telecare is looking for, not a problem. And then we kind of meet you at their need, if that makes sense, which is your need at the same time, to be able to help you guys move forward with that. So it's there if you need that. So transitional livings are the future and aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And the reason why we say that is because transitional livings are fueled, unfortunately, by 2 areas of society that are growing rapidly: drug addiction, homelessness. If you know about fentanyl crisis, if you know about the opioid crisis, you understand the OD rate. You understand that this is something that's completely needed. Telecare isn't the only place needing beds, right? They're the smartest one to jump on and say, hey, we need to inform the public a little bit more so that they see the need so that we can get the beds, right? Which is brilliant, because they see me. I came in a couple months ago and they were like, how can we be able to use this for our good? If they contract with you, I come in and really solidify why this is a good investment. It's a no-brainer, right? And you see, that was a great move.
Yeah.
Straight up, it was an excellent move. So StarterSoberLiving.com performs way better than Airbnbs and fix and flips. And the real reason The Airbnbs definitely serve a purpose, but when it comes to profits per month and supply and demand, sober livings are just better. I work with realtors. That's who I work with. I haven't really. I've done this for. I know Heather, right? But the realtors, they went to Airbnbs, and to keep the 5-star rating and keep it clean, it's too much. This is a way better situation. And it's because the people in your home, they maintain the home for you. Part of their duties of the programming of what they do is they make sure that everything is taken care of on your property premises. So it's awesome. So we eliminate the worry associated with getting your SLE filled and keeping it filled. I don't think you guys are going to have to worry about it getting filled because I think they're going to work with you to get that done. I like multiple contracts because it secures when they don't have people. They're not like stressed out saying, we don't got anybody for you, right? You can always go there. I would work out how do you guys get a certain amount of beds and keep those beds?
Which is something I wanted to address because I know what our need is and how we don't always have the clients that are ready to get clean and sober. But that idea came in of, okay, so if you get let's say you just purchase a motel. Mm-hmm. You have rooms 1 through this many are just telecare. We put people in and out of there. Mm-hmm. Then you have these contracts.
The other portion of
it, which will keep. Because then it would be with judicial people that are going to court, drug court. They'll put people in your beds.
Yeah. Yes.
So depending on the contract.
Right, and so we can work on that. But one of the things that certain contracts that I work with contracts all over, is that some of them say, we're going to need 45% of the beds or 50% of the beds, right? And that's a good way to be able to make sure you guys, yes, we helped start it, so we want to make sure we get a certain amount of beds. I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah. Okay? So we've eliminated the worry associated with getting your SLE filled up. Like I said before, I don't think you'll have to worry about that too much. And if you did decide to go with us, I could help you with other contracts, especially you guys are in Stockton?
Yes.
Yeah, so I know like all the ones you need to be able to go to make sure. I would like going back to what I said before, just make sure you guys get yours. So your property is safer converted into an SLE than it would be than traditionally renting it out. People are like, why would that be? It's because each person that comes into an SLE signs a contract stating they're willing to do daily chores and behave accordingly. What this means is that your property is well maintained inside now, and that really means security. And I don't have the contract with me, but I have it out in my van. But the bottom line is, what I want you to know too is that they are under, either they're in probation, they're on parole usually, they have a case manager. These people are monitored anyway. So right, and so what happens is when you rent out a property, you don't know what's going on until like you get that check. Like, oh my God, my house is messed up. You can walk in whenever you need to walk in to be able to make sure everything is going okay or according to what you want. Okay, so there's more transparency this way opposed to renting it out the old traditional way. Sure.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So can you explain how does the eviction process, why does it differ with an SLE than it does a rental place?
Yeah.
Like how is it because of the contract when you first come in? Hey, you start getting loaded and stuff, you just have to leave.
Well,
it's very much easier than
absolutely. So she's already alluded to it, and it's a great point. So essentially, what ends up happening is that once they come in, they sign this contract stating if there's any behavioral issues. If there's lying, cheating, or stealing, if there's a relapse that takes place, it's an automatic kick, right?
I'll become ready.
Yeah,
test dirty.
Right, test dirty, essentially. So it's an automatic removal from the premises. So it's different in regards to the traditional outdated, renting out a property where they're like, okay, there's a 30-day, then they squat, they sit there forever.
What if the client refused to leave?
that's a different story because they already know from the beginning. And then remember this. They're either on probation, parole. They have people that they're like, they don't want any problems. They want a place to stay. And they don't want the police called because they get taken off the
They
premises.
come in inside knowingly they're hand tied behind the back, so.
Essentially. So, yeah. So there's things hanging over their head. And what they want more than anything else is just to be able to not get further
And the
in
clarity of the contingency of you staying here at the very beginning is, these are the things that you won't be staying here. You have that in place where it's different, like with our room and boards and stuff like that, because it's more of a rental, but, so we can't really.
But we also have the same, like, hey, we're trying to house you.
Yeah, but
You
you
want us
guys
to
coach
continue
them
to
and
support you?
promote
Right.
them,
You
encourage
know.
them to be willing
Right.
to.
Yeah.
Right, encouraging them, yeah,
But
and
over there, it's forcefully complied.
Right. So you're getting support not only from the contract that we provide to you from Starter Sober Living, but the contract that they're signing with Telecare. There's just multiple layers of support. Okay. So this is your neighbors, right? Your neighbors, for the most part, won't even know that you started an SLE, which is a good thing because each client signs a good neighbor policy in that packet, which means our clients are aren't allowed to hang out or allowed to hang out in the house or in the backyard, and that's it. And the only time they are in the front of the home is when they're leaving or they're coming back, and that's it. And so that's the way you want it. You don't want them lingering. You don't want the garage open, or if it's an apartment complex, people hanging out. You want them to understand from the beginning, you're in your apartment in this case, or you're in the backyard, or you go to a park or something like that. Okay? So that's all baked in to our good neighbor policy. And so this is what the good neighbor policy looks like. And essentially the specific rules: no shouting when it's quiet time, where smoking is permitted, don't litter. When you do meet a neighbor and you're in that space, greet and introduce yourself to the neighbor as appropriate. Keep your yard, outside porches, and hangovers clear from free of clutter. So it's just reiterating, and even parking rules. So it's reiterating. So this was some
good behavior of city.
exactly, but we make sure we get it documented. So like for this one, you see where it says Change Point, which is my company. It would be your company, and then you would get access to all of these documents that we have available. This is a 4-step process. So really, this is talking about the 4-step process. I don't know if I don't want to play, but essentially, here is the process. So essentially, there's assessment, there's setup, there's fill up, and there's train up. And so the assessment is the most crucial part because we are setting up a business and we want to make sure it's set up correctly. So we look for things like HOAs, NIMBYs, which are not in my backyard, CC&Rs, we talked about that. We want to look at whether you're trying to rent or own this thing, or if you own it, the number of rooms, the number of bathrooms, and the condition of the property, of course. So the dangers of not conducting an assessment, not being able to start your sober living business. Like, you can be able to do this, but if you want it to really be able to connect to the community, there's so many people like Telecare that are going to want you to have your business license and to have the proper insurance and to have the right certification. So it just makes sense to do it right from the beginning. So, and the main thing is that we don't want to build on sand. We want to make sure we're building on a solid foundation. So the benefits of conducting an assessment: we don't want to waste your time. People hire us because we're experts. We're experts because of the mistakes we've made in the past, so that we don't have to make them with you and your company. Okay. Benefits of conducting, we got that already. And then, so that's the assessment, the setup. So because of our experience, we look at your SLE business with the end in mind, right? We realize to make your business truly lucrative, we must set it up to be able to command the highest fees while protecting the property and empowering the participants that will be residing in your SLE business. So there's a few things that I've looked at. There's some things that I used to like, it had to happen like this, Heather. Now I'm more like, you know what, maybe we don't need to do it just like that. And so I'll give you some recommendations to be to be able to help you guys on your way, okay? That I feel might help. So assisting with converting clients' property in the SLE business by obtaining the following. So this is what we do. We get the insurance, the certification, the licensing. We help you stage it. Services will also include assisting client with obtaining all legal paperwork to protect their investment, such as the done-for-you policies and procedures, drug testing, residence dismissal process, house rules, financial agreement, resident confidentiality agreement, resident rights, weekly schedule, house manager description and / employee contract, good neighbor policy, assisting with properly setting up for-profit, non-profit business structure, and getting up or setting up the non-profit business structure. We run concurrent because there's a lot of block grants out there for nonprofits, but it just depends on how you guys want to do it. Some people have always been a stout for-profit business. You can stay in that lane and still be profitable, lucrative, and be able to help the community, okay? So questions, how does the referral source determine which community-based organization, and is that how you guys refer to them too, as community-based organizations or partnerships, or do you guys have a name for?
Give me both
Right, so essentially, so community-based organizations, so some of the contracts that I have, right, they're like, you're a CBO. So Change Point, my SLE, or Transitional Living is a CBO. Some people just call them partners or partnerships. It just depends on the organization itself on what they call who you will be, right? So this is just to really bring up in your mind, how are they picking these people, right? We know you guys got telecare, but how are the rest of the people picking them? And it starts with the proper setup. And so like that's what this is about, making sure everything is ready so when you go to apply and say, hey, we have an SLE over here, we would love to be able to partner with you guys. They're gonna be like, well, do you guys have everything ready? And they're gonna be like, wow, you do. Okay, so this is what we need. We need an email, blah, 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 to get you started, opposed to running through the hoops. So that's the setup, and then the fill-up. So the fill-up section is like a heart transplant, or the fill-up section, because we have to connect your heart, or in this case, your SLE, to the surrounding community. So Heather reached out to Yesenia, whatever, but they're reaching out. They're getting people here, and what they're doing is being proactive, while you have other organizations that are really being like, there's no place to place them, or there's blah, blah, blah. They're being proactive, right? And they're utilizing me to be able to inspire people like you, like, this is the way to go, right? So can you find other people like that? Yes. Do I recommend you stay with Telecare because they're the ones that have brought you in? Absolutely. And then they have always been, they've always been good to me, So the fill-up phase. So the fill-up phase is really simple. Essentially, we want to get as many people into your new business as we can. And so this is some of the stuff I do for some of the higher end ones. I'll do like TV spots, social media ads, website referrals, nonprofits, courts, and then state and federal money. Those are some of the ways to reach out to be able to kind of market, to get it filled up, essentially. So that's the fill up, and then the train up. So no matter what package you choose, there's 2 packages, but no matter which one you choose, it's important that you have a full understanding of the day-to-day operations. So that's exactly what the training involves. It's teaching you and maybe one other person about the back end of your business, things to look at, how to bill, because they don't bill like we think. They bill per day, because you got to think about it. They may come in for 15 days and then leave, right? So understanding the day-to-day back-end operations of your business is necessary so that you can be like, oh, okay, I never thought about it like that. Cool. You know what I mean? So that's what we do. And then, so that's essentially it, right? And then the idea is to get somebody in place, right, that can be able to help run the day-to-day operations. This is not an easy chore. And it is harder if you're not accustomed to recovery and how recovery works. I've been clean for 13 years, going on 14 years, so I understand how they may think And it's important so that you don't have to go into people relapsing over and over and over and over and over. You need somebody with the experience and expertise to help you. Okay, which makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna stop it right there.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, and so just real quick, Daryl,
Yeah.
so you kind of know the gentlemen that are sitting in front of you. So I'll start with Mr. Denny. Mr. Denny